In this movie, let's just focus on what I say rather focusing much on the code file. So this file or this movie will help you a lot when you will be designing an application. And notice if you have looked around onto where we were designing the app, in the app.delegate file, there were a lot of things and some of them said view did load or view will load and some of these things. So these are really essential and we need to talk about them. Yes, of course, we will cover them later on as well when we will open that file. Things will come out there, don't worry about that. But right now it's a good point to discuss about them. So I have defined a class here which says the step counter, and the file or the code that we are talking about here is directly from the Apple documentation. And the reason why I didn't created a custom code for that because we are going to discuss that in the delegate file. So let's talk about that. So we have defined a variable out here, which is a total steps of integer type and is setting a value 0. Now see how easy it is for you to actually understand the code. You know the basics. That is why you are able to understand them by just viewing at them. So we got two new keywords out there, that is will set and did set, and it is hard to avoid them while designing an app for a watch or maybe iPhone, iPad, and pretty much anything. The delegate file is there and it helps you to automate a variety of stuff like when the view is loading or about to load or has just loaded out. So a lot of things happens with that. So not going on to that much of specification right now. Let's just talk about the will set. Now the will set property is, now let's just focus on the core idea, not just what the code is doing. Now will set property is being used when it is just about to set. It hasn't been set yet, but it is about to set. When I say that move to 1 kilometer and you are on to, let's just say, onto just one step less than the 1 kilometer, that's the stage of will set. So this is all that. And the did set is something like that when you have just achieved the 1 kilometer zone and you are just stepping one step ahead. Now it cannot be said that you have covered hundreds meters out that, but you have just covered a one step ahead of 1 kilometer. So it's a very narrow gap, but yes, it makes a really lot of difference when you have an app because your view is just about to load or your view has just loaded up and you want to present an icon on the screen or maybe a pop-up for login first. And these things really matter at that point of time. So with that, I just wanted to discuss about the will set and the did set. But there is a couple of more things. At the bottom, you'll see there are a few access modifiers in the Swift which we haven't talked much. And yes, we have got 3 of them. First is private. The second one is internal. And the third one is the public. Now, first question is, which one is the default? Which one is out there, which we don't have to put, but still always there? So that's the second one, the internal. Now the private allows you to access, let's say you can define anything private like classes, the properties, or maybe the functions or the methods in that. So when you define anything as a private, that means you are only allowing it to access from the same code file and nothing else, not even in the project. And when you define it as an internal, which is by default, if you do not define any class or object as anything, it is considered as an internal. And that means that you can access your code file from within the project. And after that, there is a public, and public means the public property everywhere for everyone. And this is mostly being used when you are defining third-party open source frameworks or maybe something like that, then it is being used. So again, it's a good thing, but make sure that you keep a sense on that. Sensible things are always good, but make sure that you keep a sense on that. Like you define a private class and inside that you define a simple public method, that really doesn't make sense. So make sure that you keep an eye for that.